My parents gave me away and kept my little brother. Years later, now that I'm successful, they're saying I owe them for the childhood they never gave me. I never thought I'd share this. Not here, not anywhere. But sometimes the weight inside your chest gets so heavy, the only way to carry it is to let it out. So, here I am. When I was 14, my whole world cracked. I wasn't wild, I wasn't broken, I wasn't causing chaos. I was just quiet, a little weird, soft around the edges. I didn't fit. I struggled. Panic attacks stole my breath. Homework piled up like guilt. I think now it was depression, maybe anxiety. But back then, my parents didn't believe in mental health. They believed in discipline, silence, shame. So instead of helping me, they decided I was too much. One day, my dad picked me up from school and said, "We're going on a trip to see Aunt Karen." Sounded normal, familiar. We'd been there before. Summers, barbecues, laughter that didn't quite reach the eyes. But when we pulled up to her place, my mom was already there, with my suitcase. They hugged me, the kind of hug that says, "This is goodbye," without saying it. And then they told me, "You're going to stay here for a while. It's for the best." I didn't understand. I thought I'd done something terrible. I begged them, cried, my chest locked up so tight I couldn't breathe. My mom said, "We'll call. It's just temporary." But they never did. Never once. They erased me like I was never part of the picture. But they kept my little brother. He was 10, smiling, athletic, everything I wasn't. He stayed. He got birthday parties, private school, family vacations, and I got a pull-out couch and quiet sobs into an old pillow every night. But Aunt Karen, she saw me. She wasn't rich, not even close, but she gave me safety, kindness, a soft place to land. She asked if I was okay. She let me cry. She let me be. She didn't try to fix me. She just stayed. At 18, I aged out of her care. No college fund, no family help, just me, broken but breathing. I worked warehouse jobs, delivered food, stood under flickering gas station lights on graveyard shifts. And then I found coding. Late nights, free tutorials, cheap headphones. I taught myself. I built ugly apps, learned from strangers on the internet. By 21, I had a freelance gig. By 22, I led a dev team. At 23, I launched something real, something people actually used. It blew up. 2 years later, I sold it for over $4 million. Now, I'm 28, free, independent, giving back to other kids who feel like I once did, forgotten but full of fire. And for the first time, I felt peace. Then one day, I opened LinkedIn. A message from my dad. "Proud of you. Saw the news. Knew you had it in you." A few days later, Facebook, my mom. "Hearts. Let's reconnect." Then a friend request from my brother. At first I ignored them. Then the messages changed. "We're struggling. The mortgage is tight. Your brother's tuition is insane. You've done well. Could you help?" That one hit me. "You raised me," they said. So I told them the truth. "You didn't raise me. You gave me away. You never called, never checked. You left me like a broken thing you didn't want anymore. The only person who raised me was Aunt Karen, and I already take care of her. I owe you nothing." Their replies: guilt, anger, finger-pointing. "Parents make mistakes. Don't let the past ruin the future. You're being cruel. You don't understand what we're going through." So I asked my brother, "Do you even remember why I left?" He said, "Didn't you go to Aunt Karen's to get better?" I told him, "I didn't leave. They gave up on me." He didn't write back. Now they post on Facebook. Vague things. Some people forget their roots. No matter what, we're still family. Kids should support their parents. But me? I don't feel guilty. Not one bit. Because I am not a wallet. I am not a redemption arc. I am not a reward for their silence. They left me 14 years ago. Now I'm choosing to leave them right where they left me. I pay Aunt Karen's bills. I bought her house. She showed up when no one else did. She loved me, not for what I one day would become, but for who I was when I had nothing. That is family. So no, Mom, no, Dad, you don't get to return now that I'm worth something. You made your choice, and I've made mine. I'm done. They stopped messaging after that. No more hearts, no more guilt trips, no more we're still family. Just silence. And for a moment, I felt something close to grief, not because I lost them, but because I finally accepted the truth. They were never mine to lose. They let go of me a long time ago.
And now, I was just the one strong enough to admit it. But silence has a weight too. It creeps in at night, when the world goes still and the phone doesn't buzz, and your thoughts start whispering old names like they still belong to you. Some nights I wondered, what if I had helped them? What if I had just sent the money and let them pretend? Would that have made me good? Would that have made me worthy? But then I remembered, being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. Being generous doesn't mean being used. I didn't owe them my success. I earned every second of it with bloodshot eyes and sore hands and a heart that never got tucked in at night. And I've learned something. Healing doesn't always look like reunion. Sometimes healing is knowing exactly who not to go back to. So I poured all of that silence into something new. I started mentoring full-time. Kids who were tossed aside, queer kids, neurodivergent kids, dreamers with shaky hands and code in their bones. One of them, Malik, reminded me of me. Shy, sharp, scared to speak up. He was working nights, learning Python in between fast food shifts. One day he said, "Sometimes I feel like no one will ever see me." I looked him in the eye and said, "They will, because I see you, and I've been where you are." We built a team, not a company, a community, a collective of weird, brilliant outcasts writing their own future. And you know what? We're building something bigger than tech. We're building belonging. We write code, but we're rewriting stories too. Mine, theirs, yours, even Aunt Karen's. She cried the day I bought her that little house in the country, with the porch swing she always wanted. I fixed the roof, planted her a garden. She sits there every morning with her tea, wrapped in peace. I visit every Sunday. Sometimes we don't even talk. We just exist together, the kind of quiet that holds you, not erases you. And slowly the ache inside me softened, not because I got revenge, not because they finally said sorry, but because I stopped waiting for them to. Forgiveness doesn't always come with a welcome mat. Sometimes it comes when you put down the weight, not for them, but for you. The last time I heard from my brother, it was a text. "I miss you. I wish things were different." I stared at that message for a long time, and then I replied, "Me too. But this is what different looks like." I haven't heard from him since, and that's okay, because I'm not walking backward anymore. I'm not building bridges that only I'm expected to cross. I'm building home now, not from blood, but from choice, from people who don't just show up when you shine, but who sit beside you in the dark. This is my life now, not a comeback, not revenge, just me finally whole. And if you're listening to this, still waiting for them to notice you, still hurting from the weight of being forgotten, let me say this loud. You were never broken. They just never learned how to hold something fragile. But you learned how to rebuild. You're not what they left behind. You're what rose from the ashes. Years have passed now. I don't mark time by birthdays anymore. I measure it in peace, in Sunday mornings where nothing aches, in coffee that doesn't taste like survival, in waking up and not feeling the weight of being unwanted. And maybe that's what freedom really is. Not a mansion, not a million followers, but silence that doesn't scream anymore. This is my story now. One I wrote with trembling hands but steady footsteps. I started a foundation last year, the unseen ones. It's for kids like I was, the ones people forgot, or ignored, or tossed away. We give them laptops, mentors, safe places to sleep, classes that don't make them feel stupid for learning slow, therapy, warm food. We don't ask why they're behind. We ask where they want to go. And they go far. One of them, Ava, just launched her first app. She cried when it hit 10K downloads. I cried too, not for the number,
but because I saw her glow in a way no one ever let me. That's what this is now. Not legacy, not payback. Planting gardens in places I was buried. People ask me if I ever talk to my family now, my first family. I tell them no, and I'm okay with that. But sometimes I check their profiles. I see the vacations, the family photos, smiles that look picture perfect, like they never lost anything. But I also see it, that tiny gap in every frame, where I should have been. They never filled that space, and I never went back to try. Not out of bitterness, out of growth.
Because I finally understand, some people are chapters, not lifetimes. They closed the book. I built a library. And when I feel the ache, and yes, sometimes I still do, I remember Aunt Karen. She's older now, still drinks tea on that porch swing. She calls me her miracle. I tell her, "You're the one who made me believe in them." She laughs, says I talk too fancy these days. But I see the shine in her eyes, and that's all I ever needed. And me? I'm writing a book now, a real one. It's called The House I Built Myself. It's not just about tech or trauma. It's about how you build a home. Out of truth, out of pain, out of people who stay. I don't need a fairy tale ending. I don't need them to say sorry. I made peace my finish line. So if you're listening to this right now, and your story still feels like a wound, know this. You're not broken. You're building. And one day you'll stand in a house made of everything they tried to take from you, and you'll realize you were always enough. They just weren't ready to see it. But you saw it anyway. And I never looked back. Sometimes I sit by the window in my new place, not the one with the skyline view, not the luxury loft with polished concrete and designer chairs. This one's smaller, quiet, warm. There's a little garden out back. I grow lavender now. Did you know lavender doesn't rush? It takes time, patience, but when it blooms, it fills the air with a calm that whispers, "You made it." That's how I feel these days. Not loud, not flashy, just here. And for the first time in my life, that's enough. Not because I built an empire, not because I proved anyone wrong, but because I stopped needing to. Because peace doesn't apologize. I used to think healing meant running marathons, conquering stages, burning bridges, and building kingdoms with the ashes. But now, healing looks like sleeping in, leaving messages on read without guilt, cooking dinner with no one to impress. It's laughing without wondering if someone will take it from you. It's knowing your worth and never having to explain it again. Sometimes people still reach out. My brother sent another message. He said, "I'm a father now. I think I understand more." I sat with that one for a while, not because I owe him an answer, but because sometimes understanding comes too late. I didn't reply. Not because I'm angry, because I'm free. And freedom, I've learned, doesn't always mean forgiveness. Sometimes it just means no longer waiting for one. Sometimes it means letting go, without ceremony, without rage, just soft release, like breath on glass. I lit a candle for the girl I used to be, the one they left, the one who cried on a pull-out couch, who tried so hard to be worthy of love she should have had by default. And I told her, "You didn't need to become anything to deserve it. But look at you. You did it anyway. And now, you get to rest. You get to sit in sunlight and not flinch. You get to open doors without fear of who might walk out again. You get to choose, not out of survival, but out of joy." That's the new chapter. Not a sequel. A new story entirely. Written in soft lavender ink, on paper that doesn't tear when you touch it. Held together not by bloodlines, but by boundaries. And the next generation, they won't inherit my trauma. They'll inherit my strength, because I broke the pattern. And I didn't just survive, I bloomed. Some endings don't come with fireworks. No last confrontation, no dramatic apology, just silence. And silence can be a final gift too. I haven't spoken to them in years, not out of hatred, not out of pride, but because I finally realized peace isn't something you chase. It's something you choose. They still post vague things, family photos with captioned grace. You'd never guess they had a daughter who lived on someone else's couch at 14. You'd never guess they left her there. And you know what? I let them have their version, because mine is enough. I have my mornings now, uninterrupted, soft, warm. I water my lavender, I brew coffee that tastes like calm. I answer to no one's silence but my own. A few months ago, I ran into my brother. Grocery store, random. He looked older, a little worn. He had a toddler in the cart and a tired smile. We locked eyes, and for a moment, everything I wanted to scream turned into something softer. He said, "Hey, you look good." I said, "Thanks, you too." No bitterness, no backstory. Just two people who once shared a childhood and now shared distance. And that's okay. Some connections fade quietly, like stars you stop noticing in a brighter sky. And I finally have my sky. It's not lonely, it's just mine. I built a home, not with bricks or blood, but with boundaries, books, and people who show up. My circle is small, but it's real. People who see me, not just when I shine, but when I unravel, when I cry, when I say, I need space, and they respect it. Aunt Karen passed last year, peacefully. She held my hand at the end, looked me in the eye, and whispered, "You turned out better than any of them ever imagined." I said, "That's because you imagined me first." I gave her the goodbye I never got. Then I bought that old pull-out couch, the one I used to cry on, and donated it to a shelter. Because healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means transformation, turning grief into shelter, loneliness into safety, pain into permission. Permission to live, to smile, to laugh, to dance in the kitchen at 2 a.m. without thinking about who didn't clap. This is the last chapter, not because there's nothing more to say, but because I'm not writing about them anymore. They had their pages. Now, I'm writing love letters to the girl who stayed, to the woman who rose, to the future I'm still building, one gentle breath at a time. I didn't come this far to stay angry. I came this far to finally be free.